Hello and welcome to the Python series for absolute beginners. In this part of the series, we'll be talking about loops in Python. And for the loops, we'll first be talking about for loops. So, for loops are a way for us to do something iteratively for a number of times. We know the number of times that we want to do it. So, that's when we use for loops. We also have other types of loops, such as while loops, which we'll be talking about later in this course. But for now, for loops. So for loops have the basic syntax of just writing for, and here we are going to pass in any name or any variable that I want, but I like using I. But sometimes I change it based on the context. So I say for I in range, and the range function is a function in Python that takes in parameters, and the parameters it takes is the start, takes in the stop, and it also takes in the step. So what's our starting point? We first want to start from 0 and at, let's say, 10, and the stop is optional. We can leave the step for now, which we will talk about it after this. So what we want to do, we want to print I. So what this does is it starts from 0 to 10. That's what the range does. So at each time, the value that we are currently on will be what I is holding, and we print I. So first, when you run this code, just going to start. The range is going to be 0, and that's what I is going to be keeping. Then we print I, that's printing 0. It goes to 1, and I will be 1. Print I, that's 1. So we're going to print from 1 to 10. And what you have to know is the range function, the 10 over here won't actually be printed because the last value is always -1. So we are going to stop at, let's say, 9. But if we want to print 10, then you have to stop at 11 because it starts from 0 to the stop -1. It doesn't actually get to the stop. So when I run this, I'm going to get 0 to 10 and it stops. But I actually wanted to stop at 11. So if we want to stop at 11, we use 12 in that order. So let me just clean this. So the next thing you can do is add a step. So for the step, I'm going to have maybe in steps of 2. So what this is going to do is going to start from 0, go to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It doesn't actually get to 11 because when you get to 10, the next step is going to take us to 12, but 12 is actually not part of the range, so it stops. So that's basically the range. We can also start from behind. So let's say we are starting from 10 and we are going all the way to 0, which means, and what we are going to do is, in this case, the step is going to be in negatives because since we are going from 10 coming all the way to 10, the step is supposed to be negative so that we'll be subtracting each time. So in steps of -1. So in this case, when I run it, you're going to see 10, 9, 8, 7 all the way to 1. As we talked about, the 0 is not supposed to be included. It doesn't add the endpoint to it. So if I do it in steps of -2 and I clear this console and run this again, it's going to start from 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. So you can call this any name you want, as I said. So I can say for, let's say, for number in this range. So each time number is going to hold the value, sorry. So in this case, I print the number and it does the same thing. And the print is not the only thing that you can do over here. You can do a lot of things. You can print the number times 2. So if I decide to print the number times 2, it's just going to print in. So let me just do this way. I'm going from 0 to 11, which means I'm supposed to stop at 10. And each time I'm printing the number times 2. So if you guess correctly, this is going to print 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way to 20 because 11 is not included. There are a number of things you can do over here with these values. So let's say I can do a lot of stuff like print times 2 minus 1, a lot of stuff. I can actually maybe store it in a variable name. Let me see. Let me say their value is going to be maybe number, and I can use the value for something else. But for now, let's just leave it at the printing times 2 times. So using this, we can do a lot of stuff, a lot of things. Maybe we want to print hello. So what this does is that it's going to print hello 11 times, because it's going to start from 0 all the way to 11. But if we want to print it 10 times, we start all the way to 10. So it's 0 all the way to 9, which is 10 times. So when I run this, it's going to print hello 10 times if you actually want to count it. And another thing to notice, if we are starting from 0 to, let's say, a certain number like 10, there is no need to put in the 0 and the 10. We can just ignore this. So you can see for number in range of 10, this actually means start from 0 and end at 10. So when I print this, it's going to do the same thing for me. Let me reprint it again. See, it prints 10 times. Using this knowledge, we can do a lot of stuff. We can, let's say, print all the numbers from 1 to 100, all the even numbers from 1 to 100. Sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do is not print range. I'm going to print the number, and I'm going to make it 100. Sorry, 101, so that I stop at 100. So in this case, it's going to print 1 all the way to 100. But if I want only the even numbers, I can use for number in range 101. I want from 0 to 101 and in steps of 2. So it means I want from 0, but I want it in steps of 2 all the way to 101. So if I clear this console, because this is going to be a lot, so you can see it well. If I run it, I'm going to see it as in terms of 2s. So it starts from, let me say, I can't see it clearly. Let me clear the console first and rerun it. This 100, 98, 96, 94, so you can see it's decreasing. So it starts from 0, 2, 4, 6 all the way. Well, let me just clear this. And another way you could do this is, I know some of you might have done something like this for number in range 101. So every time you use an if statement, check if the number divided by 2, let's say divided by 2 and the remainder is equal to 0, then we print the number. This is also perfectly valid, and when I run this, it's going to do the same thing. So it's going to do 198 all the way. So I think this is basically not everything you can do with for loops. For loops and the range function are very much helpful, especially when it comes to lists and tuples. You can use this as indexes to access elements in a list, or in, let me say, tuples, strings, which we'll be talking about later. But for now, this is all I have on the for loop. Thank you for watching, and we'll be talking about the while loops in our next video. I hope to see you there.